Hey guys, welcome to Off-Grid Minis. So, this week there's a bit of a change of plans. I was going to be painting up not that guy. I've suddenly lost him. But I was going to be painting up my first Castigator. Oh, it was that first guy I looked at. That guy there. But I just feel I'm not quite good enough for him yet, so I'm gonna save that for next week. And also because I went to my local paint or game shop and picked up a couple more sets. So I have more of the Myrmourn Banshees. That's these guys here, the Night Haunts that I had completed before I started this series. So you'll finally get to see me paint one of them up. As well, I got some Space Marine Chaos Cultists from the 40,000 or 40k game. So this week I'm going to be building those up, and since they're easy build, they don't require glue. That won't take too long, so I'll also be painting up one of the Myrmourn Banshees this episode. So, for my tools, of course, I got my cutters and my seam remover. And that's for the building aspect. For these ones, I won't require glue. They all have pegs that stick into each other, and they work fairly well. They don't fall apart on you or anything. And because of that they're easy to put together and take apart, you may notice that for the one I'm painting now, I may not put it on the base right away, just to make some of the areas easier to reach when I'm painting them. And the others I might just put on a little bit, or fairly loose, so that I can pull them off when I do paint them. So next week I will still be painting that Castigator, and then I will throw these guys into the stockpile so that they can be rolled for in future episodes. And that will bring my total models up to 28 for the next time I do a roll. So, and also for tools for building, of course, I got the plastic sheets with the miniatures in them. So those were the Night Haunts, and this is the sheet with the Space Marines on it, the Chaos Cultists. Got all 5 of them on there. It's fairly small, fairly simple, should be nice and quick for you guys. And then for the painting, of course, I have my brushes, my palette, kind of buried under my other tools here, my pot of water for cleaning the brushes, my cloth, my painting guide. I'm not really going to be following that for the Banshee herself. As you can see, I learned to do them a different way, so that's how I will be doing this one. But I will be using the paint guide mainly for the gravestone and the base, just because it includes colors I didn't have at the time when I did them. But I do now, so I will be following that guide as much as I can for the base. And for paints, for the main body of her, I have Incubi Darkness for the darker areas of her form. And then for the light cloak behind her, I'm going to be using Celestra Grey, topped with Night Haunt Gloom, and that kind of gives it the ethereal fade in and out blue look. Then just for her dagger, I'm going to be using Lead Belcher and Retributor Armor, just for the hilt of it, the handle. Then I have Rakarth Flesh just for the bone areas, like her jaw, and there's also a couple skulls on the landscape. and then green is just for the leaves, the same on the base. Rhinox hide is for her corset, and if I do one with a tree or a piece of wood on it, I'll also be using it for that. And then for the gravestone and some of the ground, I'll be basing it with Mechanicus Standard Grey, then going over that with Nuln Oil, which I'll also be using on her corset. And then Drakenhof Nightshade will be going over the blue the Incubi Darkness, so the dark blue area. Reichland Fleshshade I may use on her back flowing cape, or the back flow of her form. I'm not too sure yet. I'll decide on that later. And Seraphim Sapia will be going on those bone areas that the Rakarth flesh was on. And lastly, for the edging or highlights, we have Administratum Grey. That's going on the gray areas of the tombstone and possibly the ground. Then I have, this isn't closed properly, but I have White Scar that's going to be going on the blue areas, just the edges of it to create highlights. And then Thunderhawk Blue as well on the blue areas, and that's a dry paint. And also for the base, in the areas where there's not really any details, it's just kind of rough ground, I'm going to be trying out some Battlefield's Ash Gray. And that's kind of like a gray grass texture. I'll grab one in a sec. But it'll make it look something a little like that. And it'll hopefully just add a little bit of life to the model and make it seem a little more real. So that's it for this week. Hopefully it should be a little bit shorter. At least the building will. I'm not too sure about the paint. We'll see. But I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get to painting.
This week for Off-Grid Minis. We got our 5 little Chaos Cultists there. They're looking awesome. And I have my 3 unpainted Myrmourn Banshees and the one that I did end up painting up. So you may notice these guys are still unprimed, or they don't have the undercoat yet. A couple reasons for that. I'm just running low on the spray, so for the moment I'm just going to be doing the undercoat by hand when I do the paint for those guys. And another thing I noticed, it's not just the spray of the Corax White. I tried the brush paint of it and it was just really thick, so I think that's what's causing it to dry out faster and become really gritty on my models with the air version. I was still able to make this one work out better with that painted on paint or undercoat instead of the spray stuff. So if I am going to use the Corax White in the future, I'll use the pot of it and not the can. I may just switch to gray sear in the future. But yeah, we got our 4 primer ready, or 8 primer ready models, and my 1 battle ready model. Another thing I noticed, or that happened, is just when I was doing some of the details or just painting in other areas, there's a couple blue or darker spots on her back, or like down below, you can barely notice it, where the paint chipped off as I was holding it in that area. So I will be touching those up in the near future, and I do have some Ard Coat and Storm Shield coming in, and that will help protect the paint jobs. But that's it for this week. Next week I will be doing that Castigator that was supposed to be this episode, but I got these models and just wasn't feeling up for doing this guy, just not prepared for it. But other than that, I will get these new models numbered up and then throw them into the pot so we can start rolling for them in the future as well. And basically that's it. We turned a couple sheets of plastic into standing models, and then continued with one of those models to bring it to life and make it battle ready. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. That was a fairly decent paint this week, and a nice quick easy build, no glue involved. So that's it. I'll catch you guys next week. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, stay classy.